Once again, good day everyone. My topic for today is about the top 10 programming languages as of February 2020. It is also a guide to all institutions who offering ITA programs. Top 10 programming language in 2020 is Ruby programming. Ruby is the third programming language in this list, developed by an individual developer during the 1990s. Japanese computer scientist Yukihiro Matsumoto has created Ruby as an object-oriented scripting language and released in 1995. Ruby has later evolved into an interpreted, dynamically typed, high-level, multiple paradigm general-purpose programming language. Ruby is implemented in C and offers garbage collection. Like Python, Ruby focused heavily on developer productivity and developer happiness. Although Ruby is not one of the hype languages at this moment, it is an excellent language for new developers for a flat learning. Of course, flat learning curve. What are the three key features actually of Ruby? Ruby has combined some of the best feature of programming languages successfully. Dynamic, object-oriented, functional, garbage collected, and concise. Although Ruby itself is not disruptive, its web development framework. Ruby on Rails is probably the most disruptive and influential server-side web development framework. Ruby is used by some of the largest software projects like Twitter, GitHub, Airbnb, and has excellent tooling and framework support. And Ruby has not been a hype language in recent years, but has maintained its traction as per Google Trends. In the job market, in the USA job market, Ruby developers can draw huge salary and rank first by Indeed. Also, Indeed has posted 16K openings for Ruby developers in January 2020, which put Ruby 8th most demanding programming language in this list. Stack Overflow Developer Survey 2019 has also shown that Ruby developers can earn a high salary with relative low experiences. Okay. Our top 9. Our top 9, of course, is a Go programming. Go programming, like Swift, Go is only the second programming language from the last decade in this list. Also, like Swift, Go is created by a tech giant. In the last decade, Google has frustratingly discovered that existing programming language cannot take the seemingly unlimited hardware human resource of Google. So, for example, compiling the C++ code base of Google took half an hour. Also, they wanted to tackle the development scaling issue in the new language. Renowned software engineers Rob Pike and Ken Thompson of Unix OS in Google has created a new, pragmatic, easy-to-learn, highly scalable system programming language, which is Go, and released in 2012. Go has a runtime in garbage collector, a few megabytes actually, but this runtime is packed in the generated executable. Although Go is a bit feature anemic, it has become a mainstream programming language in a short period. What are the three key features of a Go programming? Go has language level support for concurrency. It offers a CSP-based message passing concurrency via goroutine or lightweight green thread and channel. The biggest USP of Go is its language design and simplicity. It has successfully combined the simplicity and productivity of Python and the power of C. Go programming has embedded garbage collector also, albeit not as mature as JVM garbage collector. Go developers can write system programming with the safety of Java and Python. Like Swift, Go has also seen a meteoric rise in popularity. In almost all programming languages, comparing website, Go programming ranks high and has surpassed many listing or existing languages. Okay. Number 8. Of course, number 8 is Swift programming. Okay, Swift, of course, is one of the only two programming language that has also appeared in the list. Okay? A group of Apple engineers led by Chris Lattner has worked to develop a new programming language, Swift, mainly to replace Objective-C in the Mac and iOS platform. It is a multi-paradigm, general-purpose, compiled programming language that also offers high developer productivity. Swift supports LLVM, which is developed by Chris Lattner also, compiler toolchain like C or C++, and Rust. Swift has excellent interoperability with Objective-C code base and has already established itself as the primary programming language in iOS application development. As a compiled and powerful language, Swift is gaining increasingly popularity in other domains as well. The three main features of Swift programming, of course, one of the main USP of Swift is its language design. With simpler, concise, and clean syntax and developer ergonomic features, it offers a more productive and better alternative to Objective-C in the Apple ecosystem. Swift also offers features of modern program languages, null safety. Also, it provides syntactic sugar to avoid the pyramid of doom. As a compiled language, Swift is blazing fast as C++. It is also gaining increasingly popularity in system programming and other domains. Our number 7. Of course, PHP. Okay? Like Python, PHP is another programming language developed by a single developer as a side project during the 90s. Software engineers Rasmus Lerdorf has initially created PHP as a set of common gateway interface binaries written in C to create dynamic web applications. Later, more functionalities were added to the PHP product, and it originally evolved into a fully fledged programming language. And at present, PHP is a general-purpose dynamic programming language mainly used to develop server-side web application. With the rise of JavaScript-based client-side web application development, PHP is losing its appeal and popularity, and PHP is past its prime. Contrary to popular belief, PHP will not die soon, although its popularity will gradually diminish. What are the 3 key features of PHP? PHP is one of the highly productive server-side web development programming languages. As PHP is used in web development for the last 35 years, there are many successful and stable PHP frameworks in the market. Many giant companies are using PHP like Facebook, WordPress, and others, which leads to excellent tooling support for it. Number 6. Of course, number 6 is a C++ programming. Okay, Bjorn Strostrup has worked with Dennis Ritchie, the creator of C, of course, in Bell Lab during the 1970s. Heavily influenced by C, he first created C++ as an extension of C, adding object-oriented features. Over time, C++ has evolved into a multi-paradigm general-purpose programming language. Like C, C++ also offers low-level memory access and directly compiled to a machine instruction. C++ also offers full control over hardware but with the cost of accidental complexity and does not provide language-level support for memory safety and concurrency safety. Also, C++ offers too many features and is one of the most complicated programming language to master. For all these factors and its platform dependency, C++ has lost its popularity to Java in especially enterprise software development and big data domain in the early 2000s. C++ is once again gaining popularity with the rise of GPU, containerization, cloud computing, as it can quickly adapt itself to take advantage of hardware or ecosystems changes. Today, C++ is one of the most important and heavily used programming languages in the industry. What are the three key features of C++? Like Java, C++ is also constantly modernizing and adapting itself with changes in hardware or ecosystem. C++ also gives full control over the underlying hardware, of course, and can run on every platform and take advantage of every kind of hardware, whether it is GPU, TPU, container, cloud, mobile devices, or microcontroller. C++ is blazingly fast and used heavily in performance-critical and resource-constrained system. Number 5, my favorite, of course, the second language I've learned, no? Because my first language is Pascal programming, then right after the C language programming. During the 1960s and 1970s, every cycle of the CPU and every byte of memory was expensive. Dennis Ritchie, as Bell Lab engineer, has developed a procedural, general-purpose programming language that is compiled directly to machine language during the 1969 to 1973. C programming offers low-level access to memory and gives full control over the underlying hardware. Over the years, C became one of the most used programming languages. Besides, C is arguably the most disruptive and influential programming language in history and has influenced almost all other languages on this list. Although C is often criticized for its accidental complexity, unsafe programming, and lack of features, but also C is platform dependent. C code is not portable, but if you want to make the most use of your hardware, then C or C++ or Rust is your only option. What are the three key features of C language? As C gave low-level access to memory and compiled to machine instruction, it is one of the fastest and most powerful programming languages. C gives full control over the underlying hardware. And C language is one of the programming languages of the language. Okay, compilers of many other programming languages like Ruby, PHP, Python have been written in C. Take note, Ruby, PHP, Python have been written in C language programming. C is the oldest programming language in this list and has dominated the industry for 47 years. C has also ruled the programming language popularity ranking more than any other language as clear, okay, long-term ranking history. Of course, our number 4 is C# programming. In 2000, tech giant Microsoft decided to create their object-oriented C-like programming language, the C#, as part of their .NET initiative, which will be managed, run on a virtual machine like Java. The veteran language designer Anders Hillsberg designed C# as part of Microsoft Common Language Initiative, or CLI, platform, where many other compiled into an intermediate format which runs on runtime name Common Language Runtime. During the early days, C# was criticized as an imitation of Java, but later, both of the languages diverged. Also, Microsoft's licensing of C# compiler runtime is not always clear, although Microsoft is currently not enforcing its patents under the Microsoft Open Specification Project. It may change. Today, C# is a multi-paradigm programming language that is widely used not only on the Windows platform but also on the iOS or Android platform or cross-platform. And another is in Linux platform. The three key features of C# programming, Anders Hillsberg did an excellent job to bring C# out of Java's shadows and give its own identity. Backed by Microsoft and being in the industry for 20 years, C# has large ecosystem to libraries and frameworks. Like Java, C# is also platform independent and runs on Windows, Linux, and mobile devices. Our top 3. Of course, Java programming. Java is one of the most disruptive programming language to date. Back in the 90s, business applications were mainly developed using C++, which was quite complicated and platform dependent. James Gosling and his team in Sun lowered the barrier to develop business application by offering a much simpler object-oriented, interpreted programming language that also supports multi-threading programming. Java has achieved platform independence by developing Java Virtual Machine or JVM, which abstracted the low-level operating system from developers and gave the first write once, run anywhere programming language. Also, JVM offered generation garbage collection, which managed the object life cycle. In recent years, Java has lost some of its markets to highly developer-friendly modern language and the rise of other languages. Especially, of course, we have Python, JavaScript, and also JVM is not quite cloud-friendly because of its bulky size. Oracle has recently introduced hefty licensing fees for JDK, which will dent Java's popularity further. Fortunately, Java is working on its shortcomings and trying to make Java fit for cloud via the GRAL IVM or the GRA IVM initiative. Also, in OpenJDK, there is a free alternative to the proprietary Oracle JDK. Java is still the #1 programming language for enterprises. The three key features of Java, of course, Java offers a powerful, feature-rich, multi-paradigm, interpreted programming language with a moderate learning curve and high developer productivity. Java is strictly backward compatible, which is crucial requirement for business application. And Java's runtime JVM is a masterpiece of software engineering and one of the best virtual machines in the industry. And only after 5 years of its release, Java becomes the third most popular programming language and always remain in the top 3 list in the next 2 decades. What is your guess for our top 2 and 1? Our top 2, of course, is JavaScript. During the first browser war, Netscape had assigned Brendan Eich to develop a new programming language for each browser. Brendan Eich had developed the initial prototype in only 10 days, take note, and the rest in history. Software developers often ridiculed JavaScript in its early days because of its poor language design and lack of features. Over the years, JavaScript has evolved into a multi-paradigm, high-level dynamic programming language. The first significant breakthrough of JavaScript came in 2009 when Ryan Dahl has released cross-platform JavaScript runtime Node.js and enabled JavaScript to run on a server side. The other enormous breakthrough of JavaScript came around 2010 when Google has released a JavaScript-based web development framework, AngularJS. Today, JavaScript is one of the most widely used programming languages in the world and runs on virtually everywhere. More browsers, servers, mobile devices, cloud, containers, and microcontrollers. The three key features of JavaScript are: JavaScript is the undisputed king in browser programming. Take note, king in browser programming. Thanks to Node.js, JavaScript offers event-driven programming, which is especially suited or suitable for input-output heavy tasks. JavaScript has gone through massive modernization and overhaul in the last several years, especially in 2015, 2016, and later. JavaScript is one of the most top-ranked programming languages because of its ubiquitous use in all platforms and mass adoptions. And our top 1 programming language in 2020. Of course, the latest, the new one, of course, Python programming. When Guido van Rossum developed Python in the 1990s as his side project, nobody has thought it would be the most popular programming language one day. Considering all well-recognized rankings and industry trends, put Python as the #1 programming language overall. Python has not seen a meteoric rise in popularity like Java or C or C++. Also, Python is not a disruptive programming language, but from the very beginning, Python has focused on developer experience and tried to lower the barrier to programming so that school kids can also write production-grade code. In 2008, Python went through a massive overhaul and improvement with the cost of introducing significant breaking changes by introducing Python 3. Today, Python is omnipresent and used in many areas of software development with no sign of slowing down. What are the 3 key features of Python? The USP of Python is its language design. It is highly productive, elegant, simple, yet powerful. Python has first-class integration with C, C++, and can seamlessly offload the CPU-heavy tasks to C and C++. Python has a very active community and support. In the last several years, Python has seen enormous growth in demand with no sign of slowing down, and the programming language ranking site PYPL has ranked Python as the #1 programming language with a considerably popular gain in 2019. So, my dear incoming freshmen, my dear colleagues in the programming industry, so try to think of it. It is necessary for you to perfect or to study all programming language. Okay? It's better for us to master at least 1 to 3 programming languages. And I think you have a good futures in ITE program. So good luck and God bless everyone. Don't forget to subscribe. Of course, watch, like, and share. Don't forget, #DocMelo, the author. See you to my next video. God bless.